He's actually consulted Amazon. This is Zac. He is, well, you're the founder and CEO of Sigil Products. You've got a background as being an attorney. But Zac, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, who you are, where you come from, how is it that you've helped Amazon, and how have you taken that knowledge and your background, and how are you helping sellers today? Go.
Sure. Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Great to be on the show. And thanks everybody for tuning in for this. It'll be fun. So my background is as an IP attorney. I was at a top tier law firm out in Washington, D.C. It was where I kind of started my career and then went in-house and was an in-house general counsel for a consumer product brand. And so we had just expanded globally and we had all types of legal issues that you can imagine, from counterfeits to diversion to cyber squatting, etc.
Mhm.
And so through that process, I ended up learning kind of everything there is about modern omni-channel and e-commerce activities, trying to help support that company. I was fortunate. I was taken under the wing of a longtime brand enforcer, and he was getting ready to retire, and I was like, let me show you how this world works. So we did raids on factories in China, and I was embedded with
Wow.
German police and just filed lawsuits all over the world. Like you name it, we did it. Very rapid crash course in this area. And during that time, because I had been at the top tier law firm, I knew other attorneys at Amazon and at Walmart. And so as we ran into issues on the marketplaces, I could go to them and say, "Hey, I've tried X, Y, and Z. It's not working. What else can we do?"
Hmm.
And through those relationships, ended up becoming a beta test attorney for them, helping them review and set up some of their policies on dealing with sellers and understanding e-commerce law, et cetera. And so that was kind of my legal practice then for a long time. It's just working in that space, helping brands, helping sellers understand where's the line for their rights, what they can do, what they can't do, how the marketplace views them. How do we fix issues that have come up? How can we correct or appeal things? And so through that, that's been kind of my main practice for a long time. During that time, we ended up launching our company Sigil because we met so many brands who were looking for ways to quickly and effectively deal with kind of fraudulent consumer product sales that were happening on the marketplace.
Yeah.
And so that's where we focus. We built the delete button for those fraudulent sellers on Amazon and Walmart and eBay. The problems or the bad actors who are causing problems for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So that's where we focus in on supporting brands and helping remove them. That's what Sigil does, and and so here we are.
Cool. I like it. Well, look, I have 5 questions prepared for you. I on my podcast that I've always got 5 questions, but I want this to go wherever we go. Um, if you have valuable information that and it's along the subject of what we're talking, or if you want to full blown switch the subject and you just remembered something that, oh my gosh, hey, add this person on LinkedIn. That's the Amazon lawyer that you need to talk to, and he's super
Yeah.
friendly and loves everybody. Just reaching out to him on a
Yep.
worldwide
Yep.
basis.
Do
Let
you
us
want
know.
cell phone numbers or email addresses? We'll do all those. Just kidding.
Yeah, good idea. Let's make sure that I get IP infringement, shall we?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
now Amazon will shut me down for just providing a public service. Wouldn't
That's
put it
right.
past them.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'd like to know a little bit more about you working with Amazon. So you're a beta tester. What timeline is this? What time frame? Where are we in the timeline?
Yeah, so this was back in 2017, 2018 timeline.
Okay.
So this was kind of early days in Brand Registry as they
Yep.
were, they had
Exactly
an
what I was going
initial
to
launch.
ask about.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the programs I was working in had not yet made it into the publicly available
Hmm.
brand registry, and so that's hence why we were doing the tests and understanding workloads and responses, legal implications, which did these actions get brought into litigation in courts and then have to create a lot of complication, et cetera. So we just had to go
Hmm.
through for a long time, testing out the different angles to make sure that it worked out. So there was a good period of time where I was one of the very few attorneys who could get someone involved in some of these programs
Cool.
through that. But
And so I I believe that it was only in the last year and a half, something like that, that Amazon founded their counterfeit crimes unit. Were
Mm.
you a part of that in any way, and or do you know the attorney and the people in that team?
I wish. No, I was not involved on that side of it. But
Okay.
I will say, one of our, there's another great kind of brand protection group who has deep connections in with Amazon, and they work closely with that department. And what I'll say is that, like, Amazon, there's a lot of reasons to be frustrated when trying to run a business on Amazon, and especially as a seller.
Yeah.
But every person I've worked with at Amazon has been very genuine. They've been true
Me
believers
too.
trying to do the right
Yeah,
thing.
look, me too. The individuals that make up Amazon are wonderful people, but I also know they are highly high. So first of all, there's so much turnover
Oh yeah.
that I think that nobody knows what nobody else is doing and nobody knows what they're doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't
This
say
is
nobody, but there's a large degree of that, right?
right.
So, you
The
know,
old phrase, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's really like the index finger doesn't know what the thumb is doing.
I know it. I know it. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
definitely my experience. So Amazon was built siloed and then remains siloed, not only by actually being siloed, but by the degree of churn in positions that are important to those of us that are sellers.
Yeah.
Even in like agency and programs to help sellers, there's, if I remember correctly, 4 or 5 different unique Amazon programs saying, hey, you're a new seller. Cool. We'll give you a rep for 12 months. Oh, you are an existing seller, but you haven't done any more than $12,000 in the last year. We've got a rep for you. Oh, you would like to move from this marketplace to this marketplace. Ah, we've got a rep for you. All of those are different programs.
Yeah.
There was 1 or 2 more that they may no longer be in existence, but even there's the other program is an Amazon ASAP, which Amazon Seller Agency Partner Program or something like that,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
which actually I helped coin that term
Oh,
because
nice.
they went through like 3 other different terms. I was like, why don't you? Somebody said that. I was like, that's it. Stop changing the name. That's the one. It's ASAP, Amazon
Yeah.
ASAP,
Yeah.
right?
It gets the point across. You know what you're trying to
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
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 So they've kept that name so far. I'd like to say I had something to do with that, but
Yeah. For sure.
you
That's
know,
what I get that in emails from Amazon all the time. They're like, by the way, thank Dan for helping us
yeah,
name these. Yeah, I get it's
yeah,
like yes.
yeah,
I will say to
absolutely.
echo what you're saying too, Dan. One of the things that I learned, kind of working with them, is the startup technology mentality that Amazon had from day one. Right, they
Hmm.
still carry that forward to
Yeah,
today.
yeah. I
And
know.
so a lot of
It's
those
like it's a motto for them.
Yes, that's true. It is also literally a motto.
Hmm.
But they are always doing experiments. Right? It's a bunch
Yep.
of very smart, creative people innovating at breakneck speed. Right. So they're doing experiments. They're trying. That's why they're going to launch multiple programs, and
Hmm.
then measure how they perform.
Hmm.
And some pass and some don't. Right.
Hmm.
And then they iterate on that. And so the seller community, one of the things that's I think is so cool about the seller community, about your podcast, right, is like the seller community talks
Yeah.
and shares information and best practices, right? Like that's really great.
Yep.
But then that leads to all this confusion because you've got 20 different experiments Amazon's running at
Yeah.
the
I
same
need a
time.
Rolodex.
Yes, and then everyone else is like, well, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that, and it's challenging.
Yeah,
But
for
that's
sure.
by design.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they're always doing the same thing on product display pages as well. Like I remember
Yep.
when they tested out, okay, we have all these issues with star ratings. The FTC's coming down on us. And so they did a test where they eliminated the 5 stars and just moved it to a single star that
Oh
you had
yeah.
to roll your mouse over to drop down to get the actual star rating.
Yeah.
And like, okay, cool, you're testing to make sure, but who thought that was a good idea? The sales on
Yeah.
those listings tanked,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. One of the things I like to say is there's not one Amazon marketplace. There's like 10,000 different Amazon marketplaces that are out there at any given time
Yeah.
because there are so many of these little micro experiments running on that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's very well said. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and none of us are the wiser.
Yeah,
We don't know if we're part of some experiment or not. It just
actually, that's
happens.
right. We have no idea. And like you
Yep.
said too, I mean, the departments internally often don't know that
Yes.
there's these experiments running. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You can
All
be-
right. Well, I'd like to go into the seller delete button.
Oh yeah.
You know, so that's a huge part of what your system is. Is this on your in your Seller Central
Oh
account?
no, no,
Okay.
no. Yeah, we have our product has a portal that we allow for rights owners essentially to access
Okay.
and monitor how their brand is being presented kind of on the various marketplaces. This is, not just Amazon Limited,
Mhm.
and identify if there are sellers who are engaged in fraudulent or illegal activity, and then they can take action. And
Got it.
that action used to be me plinking away on a computer, right, trying to do these things.
Yeah.
And now we've just been wrapping that around with software and technology, and
Yeah.
of course AI automation technology, and kind of constantly improving that.
Love it. Okay, cool. Well, uh, well, let me ask you this. I want people that are interested in this to know that this exists. Where do they go to find out about it?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So the name of the website is actually sigilprotects.com, not Sigil Products, but that's
Hmm.
also fine.
Hmm.
So yeah, if you go to sigilprotects.com, right, that's our website, and that's where you can kind of read more about it and find an opportunity to set a meeting and learn. Yeah, there we go, perfect. Sigilprotects.com. And really that came around because we're trying. So our mission is to make e-commerce honest.
Hmm.
Part of that involves working with brands, but a big part of that involves working with sellers and distributors and the marketplaces, right? Eventually consumers. We are trying to make the online shopping, experience safe and reliable. And so this is the beginning of that journey.
I like it. Okay, cool. All right. So anyone that's interested in this, you private label people out there, sigilprotects.com. I'll those of you that are watching this, you'll see it in just below Zach's name tag as well. So sigilprotects.com. All right, Zach, let's go into the questions that we have because I know you have an enormous amount of valuable intel that can be delivered. So
Do my
I
best.
yes, well, look, I don't know anyone else that has the experience with you. No, that's not true. I only know two other people that has the experience that you may have in dealing with Amazon lawyers, but from a fighting side, not a helping side. So you are very unique in that perhaps you are not, when you call an Amazon lawyer, you're not arguing with them.
Right, right. I've got a great relationship with
Yeah.
several folks there. Yeah,
Yeah, awesome. All right, so here's question number one. Do brands actually have the legal right to remove sellers from Amazon?
absolutely.
Okay.
When there is illegal activity that is happening, or dramatically disruptive behavior that's happening on the marketplace, then yes, those
Okay.
brands or other rights owners have the ability to remove sellers from the marketplace, and they
Okay.
should.
Yep, I
But
agree.
right, like not everything meets that qualification,
Yeah, let's
right?
define that.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is like what my father always likes to say is it's not illegal to be a jerk. Right? There's a
Mhm.
lot of things that can happen, and there's not a legal right to go in and take that person down, right?
Yeah.
So, definitely when there is illegal activity, brands should be taking action against that. And
Mhm.
I apologize, there's a siren going by in the background, so I
Sorry, I thought
apologize
my
for any.
ride was here. I was like, no, I'm not ready yet.
They found you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so, the obvious space to
Talk to
look
my
at.
lawyer, Zach.
Don't answer any questions. Right. The kind of obvious space that we see for these things are, counterfeit products
Yeah.
and then listing hijacking. Right.
Yes.
And I do want to add a little bit of definition around those in terms of
Yes,
get
please.
tossed around.
Especially on listing hijacking. Yeah.
Yes. All right. And so I think getting that clarity is important, right? So when we talk about counterfeits, these are products that are not made by the brand or out of the brand factory. It's someone's making it to try to look as much like that brand product as possible.
Yep.
And we can get into a lot. Again, I have a deep experience with dealing with that issue. We can talk about that.
Hmm.
It is plainly illegal. That is one of the spaces where U.S. law and most international law is very strict against counterfeit creation.
Hmm.
Listing hijacking is different, and it's sort of a strange beast, right? This is where you've got an ASIN, usually that's been inactive, it's not on a brand registry, and someone is able to get in and start listing on it, and then start changing that product detail page, right? So, I remember a few months ago seeing a listing, and it was showing a hairbrush, but
Hmm.
then all of the reviews that were in it were talking about baked beans,
Yeah.
right? And like that's a great example where, all right, someone let that baked beans listing
Yep.
kind of go, and
Yep.
then it got hijacked, right? And so then
Yep.
sellers were getting on and running it for that.
Yep.
Now, that is not like illegal in the strict sense, right? That's not um, because the
It
the
is against Amazon TOS though.
that and like in a major way, right? That's
Yes.
the kind of disruption Amazon hates and
Yeah.
does not want, right? So
Yeah.
that's an example where okay, that's not illegal activity, but it is a huge problem for Amazon for the ecosystem as a whole,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
Amazon will take action against those types of things.
Okay. All right. And how do I have to come to you and engage the services of a lawyer to do that? Or and if not, how do I do that on Amazon?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, um, right in the different areas, so like, no, you don't need to engage the services of a lawyer. As a licensed attorney, I'm happy to um, help answer questions and point people in the right direction, right?
Mhm.
And certainly, if you ever are in doubt, please talk to a lawyer. Lawyers are
Yeah.
there to help you, right?
Yeah.
But if you've got evidence of a counterfeit product, right, then you should be reporting that, right? Brand Registry is an excellent tool for
Yep.
that. You can go and do that on your own,
Yep.
right? And then there are a few different angles for reporting policy violations, right? Either through your seller or vendor central accounts. Oftentimes on the product detail page itself, there will be a
Mm-hmm.
reported violation section. And
Yep.
so, if you've got evidence that this is hijacking or intellectual property violation, right? You can go through those reported violation steps and send that in. Now, you won't hear anything,
Yeah.
right? Those are
And actually, before we go down that line, one thing I want to bring up is that people that if you're using your PDP to report a violation, it could mean the suspension of your product page as a whole.
yeah,
So
that's a
I've had friends or clients that have had that experience. So I just wanted to put that out there. It's like better to go Seller Central or Brand Registry than the PDP, the product details page, because that could affect you as a whole.
yes, yeah, that's a great point, and thank you for that caveat.
Yeah.
And in fact, being cautious around how you do the reporting so it doesn't disrupt your business is really important, right? In
Yeah.
this context and in any others, right? So, for example, about 25% of reports through Brand Registry are fake or like false. And
Oh,
it's people
really?
intentionally trying to disrupt
All
others.
right. Say that again.
Okay. Approximately 25% of reports through Brand Registry are false reports. So
That's crazy.
Amazon, yes, it's crazy.
No wonder they don't answer us.
They're doing exactly right. They've got to find the signal through the noise,
Yeah.
and that's hard to do when there's that volume
Yeah.
of activity happening there.
Jeez. I never. Wow. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Please continue, dude. This is
Yeah.
good data.
So yeah, so for sure. So when brands are excuse me, when sellers or brands see those violation issues, report them.
Yep.
You're not going to hear a response. But that is when, right? If you want to escalate it, reaching out to either a consultant or an attorney. Right? There are several agencies in this space. So a lot of times, if you either are an agency or you're working with an agency, they'll know a great deal about it, and they can identify for you email addresses or folks to escalate.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge of escalation, right? So Amazon as a company is an escalation culture.
Yep.
So you've got to file your first report. They have to get enough of those reports and then enough people complaining to bring it up for it to rise to the attention of someone to look at.
Yeah. That's why that report button on those reviews. So with Ecom Triage, we remove negative product reviews that violate Amazon's terms of service. So, but the report button, we use it, but it doesn't actually do anything. And what I'm finding is over the last 3 years, Amazon tends to do these batch removals almost exclusively positive reviews.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
So I think so. There's the Amazon fraud unit, right? There's the crime unit, but there's also another one on reviews. Yeah, so I'm trying to remember the guy's name that heads it up, but he's a data scientist, right? He's basically in charge of all the algorithm and AI that goes through all the reviews. And most of what his unit does is actually block reviews from happening that seem to be fraudulent. So there's likely some sellers listening to this that have tried to leave a review on a product and got blocked. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know? And that comes from this guy's team. Man, I've got to find his information. Hang on. I'm going to pause this recording and then I'm going to find no, I'm not. I'll just cut it out. Hang on.
Cool.
I've got to find this. Let's see. Amazon. Let's see. Let's see. I know. Nope, that's not it. Basically, though, what this guy does and what his team does is they're mostly blocking it, but they're crowdsourcing data as well on reports, this report button, and then running that through a series of checks to see what they've got, what they determine is actually non-compliant, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's see.
Yeah, so I think it's really good that you're still using that button, right? Because
Yeah,
that is how that's how signals are getting measured.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, without it, it would be silly. It would be silly not to use it. It is an avenue that Amazon provides. The
Right.
data does go somewhere,
Yeah.
but it does not result in an instant check and then it being removed. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, it is what it is. I'm so upset right now. I have this team and I cannot find it.
You should just make something up. I'm sure ChatGPT can hallucinate an Amazon employee for you.
Definitely. Valuable assets. Here it is. Let's see. Joshua Meek. That's who it is.
Nice.
Yeah. So Joshua Meek, he's the senior data science manager at the Amazon fraud and abuse prevention team.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that's your guy. And yeah, anyhow, we should get back on topic here. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole here. Go.
Well, it was fun. It's just really interesting to hear that piece of it because I'll just tell you, right, we hear a lot about, review issues and how important that information is. And, I don't know if we get into it much, but with AI transitions, right, reviews are really valuable data. So, kind of controlling that is super important, right? So,
Yeah.
Area.
Yeah, look, this is why I do negative review removal, because a significant number of the negative reviews on Amazon are a non-compliant review or a fraudulent review, or more so in the non-compliant side, not actually a product review. They're reviewing something else, like it arrived broken, that's a shipping issue, or it arrived late, that's an FBA or a shipping issue, or I couldn't return it. I couldn't return my used toilet seat, and 1 star because I can't return my used toilet seat.
Yeah, right.
It's like, hey, that's not a reflection of the product itself.
Yeah.
But Amazon does not proactively go do anything about any of those reviews. And in fact, even though that I can irrefutably prove to Amazon that this is a negative review that is not related to the product, 75, no, 85, 90% of the time, maybe even more, they say, well, that's their opinion on the product. It's like, no, Amazon, it's not. It's
Automated
not.
responses.
Yes, exactly. It's automated responses.
Yep, we see those all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is the reviews. That's my whole world. This is what I
Yeah.
deal in, you know? But yeah. Okay, cool. Well, did you have anything else on the subject of this on
Uh,
removing other sellers?
no, let's jump on. I know you've got a few other questions. I want to be respectful of your time.
Nah, it's all good. Don't respect my
All right,
time.
I don't respect anything about.
Yeah, no, I'll just cut it off when I'm done with you disrespecting my time. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it.
Perfect.
All right, cool. So here's question number 2. What is the biggest mistake brands make trying to enforce intellectual property rights against other sellers on Amazon?
Great question. Probably not working with me. No, I'm just kidding. That's
Excellent. You're fired.
Yeah, there it is. No, so probably the biggest mistake is filing counterfeit complaints against sellers when there's no evidence of actual, counterfeit products.
Okay.
And this is I see this all the time, and it's not totally brand's fault. There is so much bad information out there, right? I mean, if
Yes.
you look up what to do about sellers or something, I mean, you will find so many YouTube videos and articles that all say, I mean, people literally walk you through it and be like, here you go, now you click counterfeit, and
Mm-hmm.
now you submit to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I cringe every time, right? It is a massive problem, right? And if you go ask, the AI answer engines, how do I do this? They're now all trained on that data,
Yeah,
right? So
because
they're like,
the data that these AIs provide you are only as good as the data that they're trained on. And
yes,
everybody knows the internet's all true.
all true. Everything online is true. That's what makes it so
Yep.
beautiful. No,
Yep.
so I mean, if anything happens from this podcast, if the AI overlords will please hear
Well,
this
hey,
one
hold
thing.
on. Did you say podcast or podcast? Because I heard podcast.
I don't. It wasn't intentional. But if the shoe fits,
Subliminal messaging. You hate my podcast. All right, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
well, I would just love it if the AI overlords would stop recommending filing counterfeit complaints
Mm.
on Amazon without proof, right? You
Yeah.
have to have proof
Yeah.
if you're going to do that. The reason for this is people tell brands or rights owners, go ahead, submit this as a counterfeit because it works. Sellers, I'm sure many in your audience have received counterfeit complaints for products
Sure.
that aren't counterfeit,
Yeah.
and their listings come down, right? They get impacted from that. And the reason
Yep.
is the legal structure for that in the United States is very strict. It's like
Yep.
if there's counterfeit, take them down, right?
Yep.
The flip side to that though is like, okay, we're going to give you this lever that you can pull them down, but if you pull it when you're not supposed to, you're going to be liable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So filing those complaints falsely
Mm.
is grounds for sanctions and attorney's fees, right? And there are several sellers who have won lawsuits on this issue, right? Going back against brands who were overzealous or had the wrong information trying to do this. So this is probably the biggest mistake. It's got the biggest risk factor
Yeah.
involved. It's a lot of that percentage of false complaints happening on Brand Registry, right? Is just this issue. So if instead, right, if you think there's a counterfeit, right,
Yep.
you have to get your evidence. You have to do your research on it, right? You basically have kind of two options there, by and large. One is test buys,
Yep.
get the product, see what it looks like.
Yep.
That's not a great option because of commingling of inventory. So sometimes
Okay.
you can get
Yeah.
you can get false negatives, if you will, right? You'll get the
Yep.
product, it'll show as authentic.
Yep.
So you might have to do a couple test buys. That's where it
Yep.
gets really annoying.
And by the way, Amazon, the last I checked, they require that.
Yes, they exactly, right. So you should have already been doing that.
Yeah.
The other angle is also, I think, not ideal for most folks, and that's Amazon Transparency Program,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now you've got to basically serialize all of your inventory or add stickers to all of your inventory, and that can be really disruptive and challenging. But
Yep.
you got to have those pieces before you go filing. I mean, if I had So yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've had someone say to me, "But look how cheap it is. There's no way they're selling that product and making any money if that's not counterfeit." And I'm like, "You have no idea who they are
Yeah.
or where they got it, right? They could have
Yeah.
stolen that product. Like
Yeah.
they could absolutely be making the money. Like
Yeah.
that's not basis for counterfeit." So that's probably
Yeah.
the biggest mistake.
Okay, cool. Now, let's say I did get a counterfeit claim pushed on me
Yep.
and I know it's obvious baloney. What then should I do?
So Amazon should give you direction in that circumstance on how to respond to
Okay.
that complaint. So you'll want to
I'm talking
follow.
about retribution though.
Oh. All right. Consult an attorney before you go into detail on it, right?
Yeah.
But for false counterfeit complaints, you may have standing for it's called the Lanham Act. That's the
Okay.
LANHAM, Lanham Act,
Okay.
for which governs all trademark law, and that could give you grounds for a false counterfeit counterclaim against that brand.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So is it like this LANHAM? Is that what you
Yep.
said?
Yep.
All right.
The
So
Lanham
check
Act.
out the Lanham Act. Think local area network and ham like the pig.
It's just delicious. Perfect.
Just absolutely delicious. Unless you smoke it in your own house and then your house smells like smoked ham for like 3 months, then it's not as delicious.
Slightly, yeah. That's a downward trend over
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Day
Too much
one's
of a good
fun.
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, cool. And then yeah, so basically, if you feel you have grounds to, engage the Lanham Act, then you should go to a lawyer.
Yeah, for sure. There's several good attorneys, in this space and reputable counsel. I'm happy to do, if anybody wants to ask for referrals or references, happy to provide those and give some direction on it.
Cool. All right, good. And so that's sigilprotects.com if you need Zach's help on this.
There you go.
All right, Zach, I'm going to go into question number 3. You ready for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sweet. What is MAP, and what should brands and sellers know about MAP pricing policies?
Oh, this is wild. This is really interesting. All right,
Okay.
so MAP policies. MAP stands for Minimum Advertised Price Policies, and
Yeah.
it is an agreement between the brand and any of their known sellers, right?
Yeah.
Distributors,
Yes,
wholesalers,
that's the
retailers,
problem. Mhm.
right? So it's an
Mhm.
agreement with all of them that you can advertise a product price at a certain price, right? You still get to sell that product at whatever price you want, but you can't advertise it below a certain threshold because of the
You
brand
can
policy.
still sell it for whatever you want?
Correct.
Oh my gosh, I
Correct.
did not know that.
So if you
Okay.
see something that says real price in cart or add to cart for price, right? That's why, because then you're not advertising it.
So now you're not breaking the contract. Okay.
That's right. You can
So
do it.
it's not uh like MSP, minimum sale price.
Right. Right. It's a minimum advertising price policy.
Okay.
Now, this was best practice industry standard 10-ish years ago. As an attorney, I was putting brands on these all the time. There was
Yep.
great data out of Harvard Business Review on how it improved the overall profitability of the system, including for sellers, right? This was very much best practice for a long time. And it became, pretty popular and widespread. But but things have changed very dramatically over it. We're no longer in the same commercial world, right? And we're in this kind of
Yes.
omnichannel modern commerce space now.
Yeah.
And that minimum advertised policy has some other challenges. So one of the things that has happened over the last couple of months, which I think is really interesting, is there's this new wave of lawsuits against MAP policy adherence for price
Okay.
fixing. And they're suing sellers, like brands, trade
The
associations.
the manufacturers, like the brand owners, are suing?
No,
No.
consumers. So
Oh.
consumers who feel that they have paid too high of a price for the products are bringing class action lawsuits against brand sellers associations, even the software providers, for a conspiracy to price fix at a certain rate.
Wow.
So
So
these,
then that means I could join whatever class action lawsuits going after Canva, because if there is one, because Canva in the Philippines, I found out that a it's like less than $5 a month for a Canva subscription in the Philippines,
oh
but it's
wow.
30 in America.
Well, so that being a service versus a product, and also you've got international law versus domestic law. I mean, so I wouldn't make that analogy, but you've got the right
Yeah,
idea. I
I get
mean,
it.
in
Yeah.
like, for example, one of these lawsuits is for archery products. And
Hmm.
so if you are a hunter and using archery products, right, and then you've had to buy arrows or bows over the past however many years, according to this lawsuit, you've likely been harmed by being required to pay an artificially inflated price due to this allegedly illegal conspiracy.
Wow. Okay. Hey, Zach, you want to start one on the diamond industry
Yeah. All right, let's
or
do
maybe
it.
the silver?
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, for sure. Let's dive in. There'll be a whole nother podcast, and we
Yeah.
can we'll record our journey of putting together this class action
Yeah.
lawsuit.
We'll name that podcast "We'll Sue You Too."
Yeah. Perfect. Yes, I love it. So
Okay.
it's really interesting, and one of the things that I was, we're early stages in these lawsuits.
Yeah.
Just filed a few months ago. So there's a lot to happen. Class action lawsuits take a long time, so we won't know right away. But one of the interesting elements to this, MAT policies have been upheld, that as legitimate. There's good case law on it, but there are restrictions of how it's used, right? So you have to follow certain rules for a MAT policy in order to avoid this type of liability. What's interesting is that since these lawsuits are also including, sellers, retailers in it, right? It means that people who are choosing to adhere to a MAT policy might be susceptible, right? So sellers who are not under a MAT policy, right, who are selling products, some voluntarily choose to abide by a MAT policy, especially
Yeah.
in response to a brand, and that, there's good reasons to do that to avoid
Yeah.
conflict.
Yeah.
Depending on how this lawsuit shakes out, that may actually create liability of price fixing for that seller.
Wow.
So this could be a very interesting change over the next few years on how to manage pricing.
Man, I can see this in some ways. I can see this as a good thing, but in others, it's literally an attack on business commerce.
Yeah, you see both sides, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, we want good fair prices for consumers.
Yeah.
At the same time, companies have to make money,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So you see that challenge.
Yeah. I mean, I like if I were independently wealthy, I don't know if I'd go through all the trouble that it is to get reviews removed for people. Even if I were independently wealthy, I don't know if I'd do that as a donation, but
Yeah.
like it costs a lot of money to provide the service that I provide, right?
Yes.
You, with the service you provide, you have an enormous amount of knowledge and connections, right, in order to be able to rapidly provide the service.
Yes.
And so this is one of those things where, you've called out two experts to handle your plumbing and it's still leaking, right? And you finally call out the most expensive one. The guy shows up, and in 5 minutes he goes, "Oh, I just turned off this valve that's going to that pipe, which is an old system in your house, and now it's no longer leaking, and it's all capped off, right?"
Yep.
And they go, $700. Why should I pay you $700 for 5 minutes of work?
Yep.
Right? It's like, well, because I have 30 years of experience and know exactly what systems are in these households, where they go, what they were used for, and blah, blah, blah. So you didn't pay me for 5 minutes. You paid me for 30 years of experience.
That's right.
And I was able to handle your problem faster handle your problem and faster than anybody else ever could have.
You should have called me first. Yeah.
Exactly. And so there's a line between paying much more for experience, knowledge, and capability than there is much less for no experience, small amount of law, basically an amateur versus a professional, right?
Yes.
And oftentimes, as long as the professional is not an unsavory individual ethically and morally, you will actually pay less for better products because they can get stuff done so much more quickly.
Yeah.
And that's been a tough lesson learned for me in some areas of life, you know?
It is challenging. I heard a great phrase recently, and I wish I could remember and give credit to who said this, but they said, "Buy nice or buy twice."
Mm.
And I thought that was a nice, succinct
Yeah.
way to get at it. And there are some parts of life where buying nice is worth it, and there are some
Yeah.
times where it's like I just need the cheap thing and it's fine.
Yeah.
Knowing when that line or when that comes into play is hard,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Plumbing is one where you'd want it to be nice. There's lots of consequences to not getting it right.
Yeah. There's another term, which is buy once, cry once, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I would say I would argue buy nice or pay twice is buy quality,
Right.
but
Exactly.
what rhymes with quality? Nothing rhymes with quality.
That's what.
Uh,
That's not what we're here for.
no, exactly. Okay, cool. Well, we're already we're at 41 minutes. I try to keep these to 30 to 45. So I'm going to move on to the next question here.
You got it.
And I'm just going to politely ask you to stop derailing the conversation, would you please? All right. So here's the next question. What is one thing both brands and sellers misunderstand about Amazon's rules?
Great question. We've already talked about it a little bit. I would say expecting Amazon to be 100% consistent and reliable in how they handle their rules is a false expectation. Yeah, but I would wonder, Dan, for you've got also a massive wealth of experience with Amazon. How would you, let me throw this question back at you. How would you answer this? All right, so Dan, let's see if I can get this right. What's the one thing that both sellers and brands misunderstand about Amazon's rules?
All right, so I have a quick answer for this one. And it actually isn't what they misunderstand. It's the fact that they don't even know in the first place because they didn't go look.
Yeah.
That's
a good one also.
Yeah, making an assumption that it's okay to do something or that something should be done a certain way is not, it can work out for you. It can work out totally fine for you. But if you wonder, I wonder if I'm allowed to do this, then you should look it up.
Yeah.
In fact, with Amazon, unfortunately, if you even don't wonder if you should do it or not, you should look it up. Yeah. And I'll give you an example of a scenario where it worked out okay for this brand. They did not get caught because I caught them and let them know, right? So there were people that were, I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. I even took a screenshot of this. But basically, the brand was able to comment. I think it was on seller feedback. They're able to comment on whatever somebody said. And their comments were, hey, that's so great. Please leave us a 5-star review on our product. Right? Now, yeah, that is a big no-no with Amazon. Now, what's the legal term for that?
Oh, man, like bribery? Or
yeah,
or
could be.
What we were trying to say. I don't know, but it is like you're influencing the statement, so it's
it's review fraud.
Yeah, there we go.
Is what Amazon terms, chalks it up to be, is like fraudulent reviews and review manipulation, right? So I caught that. I reached out to the brand and I said, if you don't get this fixed now, you're liable to have your entire Amazon account suspended and possibly even permabanned.
Yeah.
And this brand did millions of dollars a year in sales. Yeah. And they were new. They were new on Amazon. They came from D2C world, came onto Amazon, rapidly started making millions of dollars in revenue. And that would have been a faucet just turned off because somebody didn't know.
that's such a great example, right? Best practice out of DTC, not best practice. I mean, the worst thing you could do over
Yeah.
on the Amazon channel.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah.
That's, yeah. And I mean, and these days now too with AI, right? Grab the Amazon terms of service, throw them in there, and then you can ask it questions based off of that, right? Any of the answer engines will be able to handle that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. So that one's a tough one because you know what? It's hard to even find the answer on Amazon's own website.
Yeah, interesting.
So they've got a public facing Q&A and policy, but they've also got a behind Amazon Seller Central entire QA system. And you would think that maybe Doofus would be able to help out on the AI analysis of their own SOPs, but also I've found SOPs on Amazon that contradict each other.
Yeah.
So I look, if I
hard to
were
know.
Amazon, yeah, I would have the same problem. Like, who remembers everything that's ever been written about all of the subjects of your, like even my own SOPs, I forget what I wrote.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And there's
Exactly.
like 12.
Yeah, yeah, much less the complexity of the Amazon circumstance. And you know, and also relatedly, I don't like just because some other seller did something and got away with it doesn't mean that you should try to do it. Like,
Absolutely.
to our point earlier, like that
Yeah.
one might have been like, but that you're going to get caught or something, right? That's another
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah. So if you're a new seller or you're looking at going into Amazon and you're in the D2C world, let me shortcut a surprise moment for you, okay? There are innocent until proven guilty. There's guilty until proven innocent, and then there's Amazon's method of guilty. Okay? There's no proving innocence, right?
Yeah.
And you know, even though let's say you're guilty of something, which of course in Amazon eyes you are,
You are.
you provide the data that Amazon asks for, and they'll still decline it because it goes to some robot that goes beep boop, I'm a dummy. My name is Doofus, and you are declined. You know, and that's just what it's like dealing with Amazon. You're not dealing with individuals, and that is the problem.
It's very hard to get to that
Yeah.
escalation point.
Yeah.
And there are many times where sellers are instructed to admit to culpability in order
Yes.
to get Amazon to forgive for what happened.
Yes.
And that is a fine line.
Yes, that actually brings up a perfect example. Somebody I was working with, well, not a client of mine, Amazon was going to strip away 12,000 reviews. 12,000 reviews on a single product, you know, with many variations, but a single product, right? One Paranason, 12,000 reviews. And I saw the email. He sent it to me and said, the email, in short, paraphrasing here, said, you either tell us that you did review manipulation during this period of time, or we shut down your account.
Yeah.
It's like, this is, I can't, there's a term for this and I can't remember what it is, but it's like, are you guilty or guilty, right?
Yeah. It's a catch-22.
Exactly. It's like, hey, one of the things that's used is like, it's terrible. Do you still beat your dog?
Yeah.
Right? It's
Right.
like, no, I don't. Oh, so you used to beat your dog, huh? You're going to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's how Amazon operates, and it's really unfortunate. Now, what are you going to do? You make $5 million a year. Heck, you make $100,000 a year on Amazon. You know, and you get to take home 10 grand. Well, 10 grand, that could be a car payment for you, right?
Those are
It doesn't
huge.
really matter. Yeah, absolutely. When my wife and I first got started, $500 net profit on Amazon literally saved us from bankruptcy. Like that was my first goal, right?
Yeah.
Medical bankruptcy, not that I wasn't paying my bills, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Sorry about your medical
oh,
challenge there.
yeah, that's fine. It's you know, they put a new brain in me, and now my name's Abby Normal. We'll see how many people get that one. So you know, so what was he going to do? Say, I'm not agreeing to this. I didn't manipulate the reviews. And by the way, here's what it was. it was an insert that said, if you love the product, leave us a review, right? There was no urging them one way or the other, except there was an image of 5 stars on there, right? Which is in every other effing part of planet Earth.
Yes.
What you use is either a 5-star or 10-star, depending on the review system. That's what you use to indicate we'd like you to give us a star rating, right?
Yes.
So that was what his insert was. There was no manipulation whatsoever. But how he got on the Amazon's radar is competitors went in, bought his product, and then reported him for review manipulation, saying that they were forced to leave a 5-star review in order to get the warranty.
Oof.
So this happened with on several, right? That flagged Amazon. Then they look, who knows if they actually look. But what was he going to do?
Yeah, you're in a dangerous situation there, right?
Yeah.
That's a situation where you talk to someone like you, right? Or I don't want to push it, right? But like me, it's not where I would help, but I would introduce them to someone else, right? Someone who has
Sure.
that deep experience connection, right? And be like, yeah, you want to get to
Look,
someone so you can get to a human.
in that case, I'm afraid I'm of no help. I refer to Riverbend Consulting, who has an excellent, they're a great team of people that have high capabilities. But just because I do review removal doesn't mean I have any inside ties into Amazon. I have none.
Yeah.
I have friends that work at Amazon. They have nothing to do with the review removal.
Totally.
And these are friends that I've like the guys over at Buy with Prime, a couple of people in the new seller onboarding world, but or the Amazon agency programs. But
and they won't know who to go to.
They have no idea.
Right.
They have no idea. Believe me, I've asked around, like, hey, where do these cases go? I don't know.
There's no employee directory for them to be like, oh, let me go
Correct.
find who would do that. Yep.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right, I've got one last question, and we got to wrap it up here because we're already at 52 minutes. But this has been great content, so I'm super happy with this.
It's been fun. Yeah.
All right, absolutely. Last one, Zach.
Cool.
How is AI changing brand protection?
Oh, it's a bit of a mess with.
I figured
AI
you were going to
is
say
changing
that.
brand protection. Yeah. There's good and bad, but right now on net, things are harder. So
Okay.
the issue there. Right. The AI as a technology tool is fantastic. There's lots of exciting things happening there. But the technology around deep fake issues and then just the sheer volume and content that can be produced out of these things makes it really hard, on to do the protection and on the back end and monitoring to it. The upside is being able to analyze and interpret that material is also very fast, right? In a way, those sort of balance out. But where there's the lag is that, and there's good reasons for this, but, in my world, on the legal world, with enforcement of violations and taking the next step, not just detecting, but what do you do with that information? There's very large hesitancy around utilizing AI technology for the actual enforcement of legal rights, right? For obviously good reasons, as you don't want an AI agent filing lawsuits or disrupting, stores and, taking sellers down, filing false counterfeit complaints, right? Like, you don't want that. And so, as a result, it's just that side of the equation is moving slower, right? So it creates more challenges to get out and monitor for that. But,
all right, cool. Makes sense. Well, Zach, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you bringing your bombs of knowledge or, literal just bombs. If anyone would like to reach out to Zach. Yeah, exactly. If anyone would like to reach out to Zach, it is sigilprotects.com. SIGILPROTECTS. I can spell that fast because I have a 7-year-old.
Well done.
And I have to speak to my wife that way. But now the 7-year-old kid's it, and she knows I'm talking about ice cream, and I have to buy her ice cream. Then anyhow, we won't go into family life. All right, cool. So We're gonna end the show for today, and whoever's still here, thanks, Mom. Thank you very much for being with us through the whole show. It's been great, Zac. Thank you. I'll see you on the
Pleasure.
flip side.
Awesome. Cheers.
Bye, guys.